Hey there, it's Helen here from HelenMartinOnline.com. How are you going today? I want to share with you today, building on last week, if you saw a Facebook a live of mine last week regarding mindset, is the second most important thing that you can do to change the outcomes in your life. Now, if you didn't see last week's Facebook Live, you might want to go back and watch that because that's got the number one thing that you can do to change, the outcomes of your life. So before I get into that, those of you that have not been on a Facebook Live with me before, please drop the number one below, and just tell me who you are and where you're coming in from so I can give you a shout out after the live. Those of you that are catching me on the replay, please also say hello. Tell me where you're coming in from so I can communicate with you after the Facebook Live. It's always nice to comment in and see what's going on with you guys. So the number two thing that you can do to improve the outcomes in your life, improve the results in your life. Last week, number one was about your thoughts. So I went a little bit deep, and it takes a bit of understanding, but really everything in your life comes down to your thoughts. So there's a chain of reaction here. So I'll just briefly sort of back up a bit. The circumstances in your life can trigger certain thoughts, and those thoughts will trigger certain feelings, and those sort of feelings will cause certain actions, and then that will result in certain things in your life. Now, if you're not getting the results that you want in life, then something needs to change. Clearly, if haven't got enough money in your life, your relationships with people aren't that good, your business is not doing very well, you're not happy, so the results in your life are not where you want them to be, then something needs to change. So as I spoke about last week, the number one thing that needs to change is your thoughts. So because circumstances sits at the top, we've got circumstances, thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. People think it's their circumstances that dictates, the way they think and then the way they feel, etc., etc., etc. So I'll just recap on that. It's not the circumstances in your life that's important. It's how you think about those circumstances. So something bad might happen with, let's say you get into an argument with somebody else. So some nasty things are said. It's not a nice sort of scenario, and you walk away from that feeling really, really angry. So you're thinking, I'm really upset with them and they really hurt my feelings, and I'm this and that and whatever. And you're really angry and really wound up about that. So you decide to carry that people carry that stuff for weeks, for months, and it has a really big impact on your life, and it's not healthy. So another way to think about that is the argument still happened, the circumstance still happened, the bad thing still happened, but you choose to think, they really hurt my feelings. I don't agree with what they said at all, but that's their opinion. That's not mine. I know I'm a good person, so I'm not going to let their insecurities have an impact on me. That's their problem, not mine. I'm just going to completely walk away from that and let it go of that, and you move on in life. So it's not the circumstances in your life that's important. It's how you think about them and whether you hang on to those sort of unhealthy feelings that are attached to certain circumstances. So that's where circumstances fits in. So number one is the thoughts. And how do you change your thoughts? I'm not going to go through that again. I went through that sort of last week. So just go back to last week's Facebook Live about the number one thing to change your life, and you can work out how you can change your thoughts. Now, this is very similar to something called The Secret. Have you ever read the book called The Secret, or seen the movie The Secret? If you have, send me some likes. Let me know that whether you have or not. And I really, really enjoyed that book and the movie, and it's a really great concept behind it. But there's one big problem. There's one big problem with that entire sort of book and movie, is that you can't just think your way to success. You can't just think you're going to have a better relationship. You can't just think that you're going to lose weight. You can't just think that, I really want my business to do really well. You can't just think your way to better results. You have to combine action with those thoughts to change your results. So this is what I just want to concentrate on quickly today. The second biggest thing that you can do to change the outcomes in your life is the action that you take along with the thoughts. Now, the reason why I'm here is actually to help home-based business owners build their business online. So you might be thinking, if you're here, hey Charlie, how are you? Nice to see you. You might be thinking, why are you talking about all this mindset stuff, Helen, when your job here is to help home-based business owners build their business online? It's because everybody misses this step. Everybody misses mindset. So you can learn, as I said last week, I can teach you skills, social media branding, lead generation. Like last week I did Facebook hacks, how do you get more engagement on your page, all this social media stuff. But if you don't believe in yourself, if you're way too worried about what other people think of you and you've got blocks, money blocks, fears, insecurities, you don't like yourself, you physically don't like the way you look, all that stuff that's inside, none of those skills matter. You're never going to get the success that you want when you're not happy from the inside out. So you can learn skills, and I teach those majority of the time. It's just once a week I come on and talk about mindset stuff because, they go like this with your skills. You've got to have all this stuff sorted out, as well as the skill level to build your business. So back on track. Action. So number one is thoughts. Without the right thoughts, you can't change your results. No amount of action. So you can't run every day, run a marathon, get really fit, but still don't like yourself. You're still self-loathing, still don't like the person that you are. It's not going to make any difference. So action won't overcome any negative thoughts, but action can interrupt the pattern of your thoughts. So last week I gave you a tip and a strategy in your mind to work out, okay, where do I start with thoughts? We'll start with how do you feel? Well, I feel crap. Okay, why? Why do you feel that way? Because I'm thinking this. Well, why are you thinking that? I don't like myself. All those kind of, negative thoughts about yourself and how to change that. So I've given you those tips. But if you can add action into it, you can speed up that process, I could say, and interrupt your thought patterns quicker. So what do I mean? Let's take losing weight, okay? I can't think my way to losing weight. If any of you can, tell me how, because, to my knowledge, that doesn't work. So you think, I really want to feel better about myself, so I really need to exercise some more. So no amount of thinking is going to do that. You actually have to take the action. Now, where people get caught up with their thoughts is, oh, that's too much effort. I can't get up that early in the morning. The gym's too far away. Then I have to pay for a gym membership and I can't afford it. So all these things come in your head. But what you can do action-wise, if you just take little baby steps action-wise, you can interrupt your thought patterns. So with exercise, people might think, oh, I'm a bit lazy to do exercise, or I wouldn't know where to start with weights. Like I really know, weights is good for me and building up the muscle because, after you've done the weights, that continues to burn fat and that's really cool, but I don't really know what to do. I've never been taught and, that requires maybe getting up early, etc. All the excuses pop in your head. But you're trying to change your thoughts and how you feel about yourself. So you've got to bring exercise into the equation. So do yourself a favour and take a little bit of action. Now that action doesn't start when you pick up a weight or go to the gym. That action starts the night before when you intentionally know I am going to set my alarm half an hour earlier tomorrow morning because I am going to exercise. I'm going to take the action. I'm not going to go to the gym though because I'm a bit embarrassed. I don't really know what I'm doing, so I'm not ready for that. But I'm going to buy a couple of tiny little hand weights and I'm going to set my alarm. I'm going to have the weights in the lounge room, so all I have to do is get up when my alarm goes off. I don't even have to get changed. I don't have to get into gym gear. I'll walk out to my lounge room, I'll pick up my hand weights, and I'll start doing some bicep curls. And then I'll start doing some overhead press. And then I'll start doing some flies, bending over and doing some flies. And you do that for 20 minutes. You've taken some action. What impact that has is, one, you lose the thought process, I'm lazy, because you can do it. You lose the thought process of, I can't exercise. You can, anybody can. Make it easy for yourself as far as action goes, And then, you will start to interrupt the thought pattern, or I'm not good at exercise, I can't exercise, I don't know what to do, it's too much effort going to the gym. So little bits of action can help disrupt that thought pattern that you've got as well. I hope you're understanding, or I'm communicating this in the right way, about how important little action can be to retraining your brain, reprogramming those neurons in your brain to be positive. If I'm making sense, please comment below or send me some likes and some love to let me know. Another example might be, just think about if any of you have got children out there, and you want a better relationship with your kids, but they're at that age where you're butting heads with them all the time, and they're just doing things that push your boundaries. So let's say an argument happens with a child of yours, and you just feel like, like one of my kids pushes my buttons, and sometimes I think, I'm yelling at him all the time. And what happens when you yell at a child? What do? They just yell back. So the action that I'm taking is not resulting in a positive action, back. So the results of what I'm doing are not positive, and certainly doesn't help my thought processes in, how I feel about, that situation. So just let me give you an example of this. There's something that happened with my youngest a few weeks ago, and how I handled it, and how I just want to give you a good understanding of how the action that you can take can change the results. So we went out with my boys, and they were playing soccer, and they said, "Mum, can we go to the skate park afterwards?" And they had their scooters in the back, so that was fine. So it wasn't far away, and the weather wasn't that flash, but I was just sitting in the car doing something, and my youngest came back and said, "Oh, Mum, can I use your phone to video us?" And I said, "Oh, I'm just on my phone at the moment, mate, doing something. How about you take the iPad?" So got the iPad out, and I said, "Make sure you look after it. Don't put it down so it can be smashed. Just please look after it," because this iPad wasn't mine. So he promised me, "Yes, Mum, yes, Mum, yes, Mum." So they're playing around, they're videoing, and I'm getting distracted. I'm on a call and whatever, and so it starts raining quite heavily. And at the same time it starts raining, my youngest actually stacked it. So he's stacked it, and it's raining. So then it came, "Come on, get in the car. You can see where I'm going here. So, picked him up, made sure he was okay, got in the car, got the scooters and the helmets in the car. We've driven off. Starts pouring with rain. So we get home, and about an hour later, I've gone to my bag, and I thought, where's that iPad? Ollie didn't give me back the iPad. And so I've gone down to Ollie, and I've said, "Where's the iPad, mate?" And he's just looked at me. He knew straight away, and then I knew it was still sitting down at the skate park. So one, it's sitting down there just, for anybody to steal it. And two, it's pouring with rain. Now, I was so angry. I will admit, I was angry. I was not happy because, a couple of reasons. One, it wasn't my property. I didn't own it. So I was a bit stressed about that it wasn't my property, and something had happened to it. It was pouring with rain, so it was going to get ruined. If it wasn't going to get ruined, it was actually going to get, stolen. One or the other, stolen or ruined with the rain. So my husband had just arrived home, and I couldn't even talk to my son. I said, "I've got to go back to the skate park." I was really sort of wound up. I just wanted to get back there to get it. And he said, "Don't worry, I'll go." And I said, I can't talk to Ollie. I'm so angry, I can't talk to him. So I reckon it was a good hour and a half, and he just stayed away from me because I knew that I was going to not react well. I just knew. And when you yell at somebody, when you really have a go at something, and it's a kid, impact is huge. One, they just yell back, and two, we really don't realise the impact that us projecting that on them has in their lives. It really has a much bigger impact than you realise in their thought processes. So I let it go for about an hour and a half, cooled down, and I think my other son came out and said, "Are you going to talk to him?" And I said, "Well, he needs to come and apologise." So he did that, and we just sat down rationally. I'd calmed down, and I said, look, mate, you know, and the responsibility and all that kind of stuff that went with the actual sort of circumstance. And I said, what do you think your punishment should be? And he actually came up with a punishment a far longer period of time than I would have set for him. So he accepted it, he came up with his own punishment, and, you know, done and dusted, we need to move on. Oh, and by the way, the iPad was still there, and it was fine. So good ending to the story. I don't know how with all that rain, and I guess the rain is what made it not being stolen. If it was sunny and there was a lot of people around, it probably would have got stolen. So it could have been a different outcome to it. But my point here is the action that we take in certain circumstances makes a big difference to our results. So the number one thing that you need to be really aware of to change the results in your life in all areas is the way that you think. You need to retrain your brain if your thoughts are not in the right way. Go back to last week's video if you don't know how. There's a little exercise that I gave to do that can help you with that. But please don't think you can think your way to success. You can't think your way to your business building. You can't think your way to a better relationship. You can't think your way to better results in your life. You must take the action as well as changing, the thought processes. But hey, Courtney, how are you? Nice to see you. The quicker that you can take that action, just little action, like I said with the weights and the exercise, just do 20 minutes in the morning. It's just something that can change your thought pattern to say, I can do this. When you do that, you interrupt those thoughts. Hey, Jennifer, you interrupt those thought patterns, which is what ultimately you need to change. So when you're trying to work on your thoughts, but you don't take the action, either it's just not going to happen at all, or it's going to take you a very, very long time. So, when you bring the action in, so something like changing your thought patterns to have better self-belief, to have better self-awareness, to have better self-love, you can work on that. But the circumstance like losing weight, you can't think your way to being thinner. You must take the action. So thanks, Courtney. It's where I live. So you've got to take that action to be able to change the thoughts. So that's probably enough from me. I've gone long enough, but I hope you really get the message behind that it's not the circumstances in your life that dictate your results. It's the way you think about those circumstances which determines the feelings you have, then the actions you do or don't take, and then the results. So if your results are not where you want them to be right now, your business, your relationships, your finances, everything, go back up, change your action, and that will change your thoughts. So if you work on both at the same time and not just rely on, The Secret. I mean, The Secret is awesome, but, maybe you don't know that book or that movie, but it's quite well known in the power of your thoughts, what you believe you attract. And I'm not saying that's not right. It is. What you concentrate on, you get more of. So when you think down about yourself, if you stay there, you are going to stay down on yourself. When you can pick up your thoughts and change them around and, think more positive, you'll attract more positive. So it's an awesome concept and it works. What you think you will attract, but you've got to bring in that action piece as well. That's just the little bit that The Secret is missing. The thoughts and the action together, far more powerful to changing the results in your life. So I hope you got some value from that. If you did, send me some love, send me some likes, comment below, let me know, and I will be with you in 2 days' time. Back to business. This is just my mindset piece once a week, back to business, and I want to share with you the number one thing that I feel that people need to understand when building a business online. If you don't get that piece right, then building a business online is going to be really, really difficult. So please tune in 2 days' time for that number one thing that you need to understand that's really critical in building your business online. So until then, have an awesome rest of the day. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate everyone that's here or even on the replay. Really appreciate you. Bye.